Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another installment of Zebra Adventures. This is a section, a motorcycle section, about vintage bikes and me putting them back together again from beginning to end and using them and driving them and enjoying them on this show. So anyway, on today's segment, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the history of this bike and the history of myself on this channel and what I've been doing, how I got here in the Philippines, and how long I've been here in the Philippines. It's pretty much a little Q&A about my life here and things like that, and what I do, why I started YouTube, and all things of that nature. So anyway, just sit tight, grab yourself some popcorn, get yourself a drink, get your honey, and get together, sit next to each other, look each other in the eye, and enjoy the show. So back in 2005, I left LAX and flew my ass to the Philippines. And I decided to retire early. I was only 36 years old. And after that, I decided that I'm gonna go live a simple life over there in another country and probably start a business or something. I don't know. But it took me years to figure it out. And at the time, I didn't have any transportation. So I was doing a lot of walking, taking those jeepneys, you know, those stainless steel jeeps that you see running around, buses, tricycles, all other modes of operation besides a car and a motorcycle. So anyway, I've been a biker since the beginning, you know, as you all know, since I was 15 years old. I just turned 15, as a matter of fact. I was actually a biker since I was 14, and my first bike was a 750cc two-stroke, 3-cylinder, 3 exhaust and 3 carburetor equipped 1973 model Kawasaki H3 Mach 2. You've heard of those bikes before. They're extremely fast, so that's pretty fast for a first time bike, but that's what I got. So anyway, basically that's almost 2005 is almost 20 years ago, right guys? So I've been here a while in the Philippines, dropped myself here and dropped down in Metro Manila at the time. And after a while, I was shopping for a motorcycle. It's now 2006, and I decided, okay, there's this new interesting looking Chinese bike that came out that looks like a full-size motorcycle, you know what I mean? But the catch was it only has 1 cylinder and not 4. So I thought, okay, well, it looks pretty good, it looks kind of sexy, but it's not fast at all. It was, you know, slow. And matter of fact, I didn't know how slow it was until I bought it. So believe it or not, this thing was it would only top out at maybe 115 kilometers an hour. I don't know how many miles an hour that is, 60, 70, something like that, barely. So I finally got the bike, bought it cash. It was sweet. And because I've been riding public transportation for quite a while, it was a pain, and you know, I really hated it. So I finally got the bike, and I decided to take it all over the place, and it was a pleasant experience. But I kept on getting a lot of little bikes wanting to race me all the time, and they kept on, you know, beating me left and right. This bike had no power whatsoever because it weighed about, I don't know how much that is in pounds now. I'm not used to it, that metric system here. But anyway, it weighed 175 kilograms, whereas these little bikes here weighed only about 100 or 115 kilograms. And the power to weight there is a huge deal. So of course a little scooter would outrun me every single time, right? So like I said, driving this bike around was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, and it gave me style points for sure at that time. Right now, every single bike that's coming out of the factory looks stylish and looks way better than this bike, but you know, it's no big deal. So then I realized, oh man, I needed to make this thing a lot more powerful. So what I did, I started experimenting with the engine, and I disassembled it as soon as the warranty ran out and started experimenting with it. So I'll tell you exactly what I do with that in a minute. So at that time, there was nobody messing with Chinese bikes because there was not a lot of parts for them, especially the performance parts. There was none whatsoever. So I decided to experiment with them. I did some big bore kits. I made some special camshaft grinds. I made ported polished heads, and I also experimented with large valves. I had to use valves from a car. And I experimented with stiff valve springs. I also had to use valve springs from a car. Then I experimented with what you call that, multiple springs on the clutch system to make sure the clutch was engaging and not slipping and stuff like that. And there was also a lot of things that I modified on the carburetor. I put larger carbs on there. I messed around with ported and polished intake systems, and I also got a customized exhaust system for this engine. I did a lot of stuff to it. Now, back in the US, they had China bikes there. They were pretty much dirt bikes, and they were also underpowered. You can imagine an underpowered dirt bike going up a hill, so a lot of people were looking for those kinds of parts, and I didn't realize this until later on. And then I decided to package these packages, and I started selling them on eBay. And lo and behold, they work really good for my bike and made the bike much faster. So fast, as a matter of fact, that the current at that time, 2005, 2006 Suzuki Raider carbureted, and also the Sniper 135 carbureted. These were both 4-valve per cylinder bikes that had really high specific power to weight ratio. They were quite fast for their size. They would always outrun me like really bad. Okay, I was pulling away from them like easily. There was no competition. I was loving it. I was enjoying it, and they were looking at me like I was crazy, like, what the hell is this bike? You know, I just got beat by some slow ass Chinese bike, and they all knew the bike. They're like, it's like the bastard child between a small bike with a single cylinder and a big bike got together and got married and had kids, and this was the bastard child of those two of the union. Okay, so basically it had the looks of a big bike. It looked fast, but it was slow as a slug. It was slow as ass, right? But anyway, I wanted to fix that, and I did fix that. So back to the present day story. Then I started to sell the parts abroad on eBay and things like that. This was before Amazon was out doing their thing online, and it was an instant hit. People were buying parts like that I was making left and right, and I couldn't make enough of them, you know what I mean? So they were buying parts like crazy. So it worked out for me, and you know, I made a lot of money, crap load of money doing it, you know. Too bad there wasn't a thing called I don't know, social media. I could have made a lot more money doing this. It was insane. So after a while, my parts started to gain popularity in the Philippines, and especially my custom cam grinds for this engine, because these engines are not DOHC. They are actually pushrod motors. Basically, this is what they were using on tricycles to get people around. They're highly reliable. You can get parts for them everywhere. And this was before the SOHC single overhead cam, you know, China bike engines came out. It was all push rods at that time. So if you wanted to make performance out of them, you had to make do with what was available. And that's the only thing that was available at the time. So, and people were actually racing them and using my parts. I was surprised. People were like, oh, can't you sell those things in the Philippines? I go, yeah. So I started selling them in the Philippines, and this was before also Facebook Marketplace and all the other stuff. Actually, Facebook was quite young at the time, and so I was selling them through, you know, word of mouth, and eBay Philippines was also available at the time, and people were buying them through there. Then a Chinese company, actually it was Taiwanese, they got a hold of my info and gave me a proposal, and they wanted to buy my technology off of me and all of my all of my engineering drawings for all of the items. So I said, all right. So I sold them the cylinder head plans, my cam grinds, and my valve sizes, and the porting work that I did, and how it was ported. So they actually bought one of my heads and had a CNC machine to come up with some port work, and they uploaded it, I guess, to their computer systems and made their own performance heads for this type of engine because they knew that there was a market for them. So they also got my stroker kits and my stroker crank, because I forgot to say that, but I was selling those at the time as well. So then another company was interested in my stroker crank kits. Basically what I did is I had some machined in-canal stock, and I had them remachined to fit inside of the crank, the throw housing, the counterweight housing, and then I made my own stroker cranks at the time from 5mm, 7mm, and 10mm at the time, okay? So you could actually stroke your 150cc to 200cc way back in 2006. Now you're starting to see them appear in the last couple of years, okay? If you're starting to see that, by the way, believe it or not, came from me and probably some other people in the world that were doing it at the same time. And also the big bore kits were also from me, and then they were I had them modified before using pistons from 600cc motorcycles, and I incorporated them into the cylinder. Had customized sleeves. They were sleeved, and then I put those pistons in there, had them balanced perfectly to around the approximate weight of the piston that was being removed from the bike to be converted. And there you have it. You had a 125cc engine that was up to 175cc, and also a big bore 200 was approaching 275, 288cc, which was this bike right here. This bike is 288cc, so I still have the old technology on this bike as of now, and as you can see from previous videos, it's still beating, which is surprising, it's still beating the modern iteration of the same bike from almost 20 years ago, which is crazy. It's insane. Why did I start YouTube? Actually, I have a love for cars and bikes and practically anything with a motor in it. And I love traveling as well as much. And I thought I could incorporate the two together and come up with a channel that would have some vlogging in it, travel vlogging, because I love that so much. And also mechanical stuff, because I love working on this stuff. Other channels, I hardly ever see them work on their stuff before a vlog or whatever, or build anything on their channel and then use it. I always see them either build it and get rid of it, or vice versa, or I see them buy it. I never really see them do a project on a channel and also use it on a practical basis every day. So on this channel it's different. I drive what I work on and enjoy what I've put back together, nut and bolt, from start to finish, and that's part of the reason why this channel was made. And this bike thing is basically one of my joys, and we're going to do something a little bit different on this motorcycle channel. We're going to talk about a lot of subjects, and not just, racing here and there, but I practically run into a street race everywhere I go, because for some reason everybody wants to race this bike. I don't know why. It's nothing special. It's just a sleeper running around looking for its next, pretty much its next victim. That's about it, Well, that concludes our little trip today, and thanks for joining me on this ride, and I appreciate y'all's support. And if you would kindly like, share, and subscribe at this time, it would surely help support this channel and support my videos and my little excursions that I have with these bikes, and I really appreciate it. And stay tuned for the next video. We're going to do a lot more Q&A, a little bit of racing, a little bit of here and there, and traveling as well, you know, on this motorcycle. And I'll take you a tour of the beautiful Philippines and show you all the really interesting sites that you can take via your motorcycle and get there in a nice way, less traffic, and away from all the people. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate your watching the channel. Take care, like, share, and subscribe. Have a good one.